When you're putting, chemicals in to get rid of one pest constantly, and that chemical builds up, and what happens when you have pests that you actually need in there, and you start seeing the unbalance of it all. It's better to find a way to do it as natural as possible, so you're not disturbing that, because you find, sure, you can get rid of all the swallows and the birds because they might be picking at your fruit, but the next year you're going to have crickets everywhere, or grasshoppers, and you don't know what the repercussions are of those actions.
Welcome back to the Bio-Organic Farm next to Mount Warning. I'm back again today with Oogie and Basil. Thanks for joining us again today, guys. So today we're going to chat about the biodiversity of our planet, or more so Australia, and the wildlife, and what it means with certified organic farming. So if you guys could sort of give us some insight on the importance of certified organic farming to meet the standards of that.
We're growing sustainably for the area. We're not putting any harsh chemicals in the ground that are specific to take out one bug, because you can put a chemical in the ground and it might be for one bug, might actually have an effect on ones that you need, or create a good biodiversity in the soil. It's really important for the ecosystem that there is balance there, and you're not just creating a one-sided story where you only just reaping for the benefits of the plants and quick produce or anything like that. You actually, we create systems where you actually harness and create better homes and spaces for the good and beneficial pests, rather than the bad ones, because in a way that they actually balance each other out when you have good soil anyway. And when it comes to the wildlife in the area, it's also really important that anything that we're spraying, if a possum does go into the greenhouse, or if something does get in there, that it's safer, it's not going to just drop dead. Maybe it's not so good for us, but this is our wildlife, and it can be really important. We have bilbies in the area, and different animals that we don't want to harm them, and they're not really harming us either, so we're here to be as gentle as possible. Exactly. We like to share.
That's good too. And going on from that, so I guess certified organic farming, with your practices, it's all about sustainability for our environment. And what would you say, for instance, for fellow farmers out there that are doing conventional farming, and spraying their crops and doing things the other way compared to you guys, what kind of damages can we see from that in regards to those sort of farming methods?
Look, as I just said, when you're putting chemicals in to get rid of one pest constantly, and that chemical builds up, and what happens when you have pests that you actually need in there, and you start seeing the unbalance of it all. It's better to just kind of find a way to do it as natural as possible, so you're not disturbing that, because you find, sure, you can get rid of all the swallows and the birds because they might be picking at your fruit, but the next year you're going to have crickets everywhere, or grasshoppers, and you don't know what the repercussions are of those actions. So it's better to find and create a small sustainable balance there.
And with the biodiversity with the soil, say for instance, obviously you guys are the second generation now, and now you've been pregnant, there's a third generation coming along.
Whether they like it or not.
Yeah, whether they like it or not. So we talked about the soil before. With certified organic farming, that can ensure that you can keep on farming.
Absolutely.
And have all the nutrients in the soil. And I guess when you have non-organic farming, can it destroy the farming for the next generation quite easily?
Yeah, absolutely. So with organic practices, one of our key methods that all certified organic farmers will place is to actually do crop management, and not just be growing large quantities of the exact same thing year after year, where it's taking the exact same nutrients from the soil. So with our capsicums, we only plant those out in the same area once, and then we put in the next vegetable variety, which might be cucumbers, or it might be green beans or green crops. And that way the capsicums require very specific nutrients, and if we were to just keep planting capsicums, and you will see very, very quickly that the capsicums will come smaller, they'll get sadder, so then You know, for us, we have to actually do our crop rotations, but for maybe conventional farmers, they can just replace those hormones and replace, you know, anything that's missing. But you know, that comes at a cost, because you know those hormones come with other traces of things and this and that, and it builds up, and then they're playing a game, you know, to keep the balance as well.
So I guess it's such a an effect where, you know, when you're trying to manage crop with, I guess, chemicals, it hurts the insects, which hurts the environment around it, which can hurt the birds and other wildlife, which then can damage the waterways and damage the future of.
Ripple effect.
It's huge, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's quite dangerous when you think about it, really, isn't it?
If you think about the future, you'd know very quickly you want to steer as far away as possible from any of these chemicals. You don't want your future generation. I personally would never allow my partner Basil to be in an environment or a farm where those sprays were used on a daily basis. No way. There's no way. It's too dangerous.
I mean, we're starting to see now around the US and even here, farmers that have families that are living on farms that are using high amounts of, you know, glyphosate from Roundup and a lot of other herbicides and pesticides. We're seeing these families having the worst health effects, both in the US and here. It's just amazing that I guess it can be allowed still, with where the planet is at the moment. Certified organic farming would be, I guess, the choice for the future, because it's natural and it's sustainable in every way, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're taking care of it. But there comes the other thing too. You know, when you said you plant something and you keep on planting the same thing, and they can replace the hormones and do whatever. I guess the other thing we worry about is the nutrients in that plant. If that fruit, when you pick it and eat it, it's very nutrient poor too, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
the nutrients just aren't there.
Exactly.
Same with the taste.
Same
The
with
flavour is not there.
Okay, that was my other question. Is that why there's such a big difference between organic,
it's
certified
one of
organic food? Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah,
It's
good
playtime.
one.
Yeah, so is that the difference between, you know, certified organic and conventional? That's obviously one thing, because that's one thing that I notice is definitely the flavour.
Yeah.
100%.
It's completely different.
So it's nutrient depleted. Flavour is not there. Could be because of the time frame that they allow the produce to sit on the plant before picking. We wait until it's completely ripe. I pick my tomatoes when they're red, you know, red to be eaten, not when they're greenish. And they have still another week, 2 weeks until I want them to consume.
Yep.
I want them to be completely full of flavour, full of nutrients, and for the customer to enjoy them thoroughly. Really enjoy every single bite.
And your
of them.
tomatoes are good.
Thank you.
Why should people in Australia be supporting local certified organic farmers? Why should we be supporting people within our own country with fresh produce?
Of course, supporting local farmers is the answer that we're looking for, as I said, for a few reasons. But another really important one is the seasonal growing. So generally speaking, when you buy something within, you know, in summer, you would expect it to be grown, if it's local, to maybe a cucumber or tomato or something like that. You're not going to get a perfect broccoli or cauliflower during that, especially in our area. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm going towards with seasonal growing. And when you get local produce, that is what you would expect as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I think you guys answered a lot of questions for us today on, I guess, you know, supporting our communities, our local communities around Australia, and also the biodiversity and for wildlife. So thanks very much for that. Very much appreciate it. It's great.
Garden vegan, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you guys on our next episode with Oogie and Basil, coming very soon.
Thank you, guys.